Hello, my little space cowboys. I'm here with another video, and today, uh, well, this is the second time I make a video completely in English, and I'm not sure how many of these I will make, especially since I could get censored at any time by you know who, thanks to that Lisp guy, and well, actually, I found out several of the channels I follow got censored recently, but still, I got the balls to speak up this time. And today we're going to talk about the president of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump, and I'm going to express my views on him. First of all, I don't like it uh, uh, how most Mexicans and in general most Hispanic people believe he's racist based on what CNN says. I do listen to what he has to say, but he's not racist. There are things about him I don't like. I consider him far from diplomatic, extremely loudmouthed, mm, very roundabout in his methods. He's not as straightforward, and he often plays for the chess. No joke, he really does. With people, including his voter base. I mean, he intentionally, I am certain, he intentionally played the whole issue to get re-elected. I hope he does, and I will explain further later. But he kept the the whole issue unattended until he had a chance to get re-elected through it. I don't like that. And he's sometimes way too peaceful with people who are hostile and who do deserve to get a visit from authorities or from the military in case of violent foreigners or armies. I don't like his methods. I don't agree with his methods in many things, but he's effective. And what matters are results in this case. So he's fine. He isn't really that bad, as people make it seem. Many Americans and many Mexicans claim he's racist based on commentaries he made about Hispanic people, which were extremely valid. I am Mexican. I know the kind of people who enter America illegally. I don't even want to enter America. I want to make my country great again. No joke, because Mexico is a complete mess due to corrupt politics and several other issues, including the kind of people who lives here. And most of the time, the people who moves to the United States illegally are exactly the kind of people who are a problem here. I mean, people who are dishonest, corrupt, people who steal, who do drugs, who are involved in illegal activities. That is true. That is entirely true. When he said they are not sending their best, it is certainly not through illegal means, because people who want to move to the United States legally are hardworking, honest, respectful. They are the Mexicans people claim all Mexicans are. We are not all like that. I am not nearly as hardworking as some of them. I mean, I am hardworking when I am passionate about things, but I know I tend to get lazy when I don't care about something. They say he's racist because of his views on Hispanic people entering illegally, but I don't see racism in his words. I mean, I see anger and concern regarding illegal immigration, I see a lack of understanding of the situation here sometimes, and I see a different perspective. But I don't see evil. I just see he sees things in a different way, sometimes in a disinformed way, because he doesn't get all the information, because he's not looking at Mexico directly. If he did, he would be a lot more concerned, and probably he would feel bad for us, and he would be a lot more upset regarding illegal immigration, because he would notice it is a problem that is harming us too. Not only it is harming us because of the people who enter here illegally trying to get into the United States or trying to stay in Mexico because, well, it isn't that bad here in comparison to other places, but also because he would notice that illegal immigration is not benefiting us, that those who leave Mexico and move to the United States illegally, they do not benefit the Mexican people. Because if that was the case, with the large amount of illegals entering the United States, Mexico would be better. But it isn't. It is getting worse. In fact, I firmly believe the world will be great exactly because of that. Because it will force Mexicans to work harder to seek a way out of their problems in Mexico instead of moving to some other country, believing it will save them. Through this, people who move illegally expecting to fix their life by moving to somewhere else will only carry their trouble to wherever they go. The problems they have, theft, crime, vices they have, alcoholism, drug addiction in some cases, poverty, unemployment, they move with them. They don't stay behind in Mexico. They move with them. Well, in some cases, well, they are declared missing or dead, and they can avoid it. But just kill yourself, fake you're dead, fake you're dead. It's totally illegal too, and you don't have to move to another country to do that. Mm, I don't see him as racist against blacks. I mean, I have seen how he lives his life, including in regards to black people, before being a politician, and he's not racist. He's just tired of the issues in the black community which affect the black community, and they need a solution. There is a serious problem with this whole, let's say, black on black crime. I see it. I see it here in Mexico, and we don't have a large black community. The only problem is when they from ghettos, not when they. I know black people on a personal level were really awesome people, and I know white people. Well, I am white, but not white Mexicans, but white Germans, Europeans, British, white Americans who are like the white people who are really awesome, and also people who are really awful. I am not fond of racism because I am not fond of collective ideas. I mean, I understand when there is a stereotype, but I don't like collectivism. I don't like collectivism at all because I firmly believe each individual must be treated individually as they deserve. So I know a lot of white people who are horrible and a lot of Latinos who are horrible, who are, well, these brown people, because let's be honest, Mexicans in particular have many races. We are an extremely mixed community, not a multicultural community. In fact, we are quite monocultural. If you are Mexican, you probably are Catholic or you are an atheist nowadays that they are growing. We pagans are like a tiny amount. For example, I practice like a combination of spiritual beliefs, including a bit of Shinto, a bit of Buddhism. We are kind of minority. Um, Culturally, we are all Mexicans. We all we all salute the flag. We all wave the flag when it is our Independence Day. That's true. We all speak Spanish. In Mexico, if you want to survive, you need to speak Spanish. So why is it like unfair or racist that Donald Trump expects people who live in America to speak American English? And yes, American English is likely different to other types of English in terms of colloquial terms, and that's true for Mexico too. We speak Mexican Spanish, and at least all Mexicans, all people living in Mexico learn Spanish, even if not Mexican Spanish. So why do we complain about Donald Trump expecting all American residents, and even tourists, when possible, speak English, or in the case of tourists, at least have an interpreter? If we in Mexico do so too, and people complain about the wall, despite the fact that in Mexico we have a wall between Guatemala and our southern border, because we don't want people from South America, from Central America, coming over here, and they still do because our border is porous, because our police officers are easily bribed, and the government, well, the same problem as with America and its border wall, which is already there. Trump just wants to upgrade it to the real deal, and we should too. Illegal immigration is bad for the country, for both the country that is sending people and the country that is taking them. Illegal immigration is bad for both. Mm, he's ugly. I mean, I am like thinking of the talking points against him. He's ugly. He's loud-mouthed. He's disgusting in many ways. And so are most boomers. I mean, considering his age, he's quite handsome. I mean, he's what, 70 something, 80 something? He's about a century old. The guy is past his middle age. He's an old geezer. And he's quite handsome for an old geezer. He doesn't look that old at all. And he's crass and loud-mouthed and crude and vulgar, and most Americans are. Most Mexicans are. No joke. I see people around me. I see people around him, and I see not much difference. People are crass. People are rude. Nowadays, rudeness is common. So why do you complain about that? Because he isn't parading like Obama with a lot of. Well, they are different people. And Trump in particular has always been that way. He has always been a showman. He has always been loud. That he doesn't care about poor people. Do you think any politician does? To be honest, poor people are only used by politicians. They are manipulated into voting for them and going for them, and they offer free stuff, and poor people who are desperate and hungry and understandably they fall for the offer, they end up always backstabbed. And at least Trump is making tax cuts, which, yes, they do benefit the upper class, but they also benefit the middle class and the lower class, but not the entirely destitute. Only those who have a little bit of money, but they are not homeless. But people complain, for example, about him bringing hamburgers to events, to official events. That's cool. That's kind of cool. I mean, let's face it, hamburgers are cool. They are nice, portable, extremely healthy, well prepared. I would complain more about him bringing them from one of those fast food joints instead of having a chef cooking them, because hamburgers can be quite healthy, and that's something people don't think about. You have meat, what you need is protein. You have dairy fats, which aren't that bad. You do need some fat in your diet. You got the carbs of the of the buns. You got bread. It's quite a healthy thing if well prepared, if properly cooked, if made with fresh ingredients. So why do we judge him for bringing an American food which is popular? tasty, and healthy, properly prepared. Um, that he doesn't know anything about Mexico. Well, he's not Mexican. He probably has been here about a few times for business reasons, but he hasn't spent much time here, especially not in places where the people who are not Mexican never go to, or in places where nobody speaks English for him to understand. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who speaks a lot of Spanish. So of course he doesn't know anything about Mexico. What he knows is what he's told by outside sources, and some are more honest than others. He might say things that are not true because he is told them. He is misinformed in a few things, and we are all, even I, even I am misinformed in a lot of things. That he's a capitalist, so am I. Seriously, it bothers me when Mexican people are complaining about Trump being a capitalist, and when Americans do so, because, well, most people are, and so am I. And what communist? Communism is disgusting, and sincerely, socialism is not very effective. So, we are capitalists. In fact, socialism, or at least social welfare, needs capitalism to exist, needs capitalism to function, needs a constant flow of money going, coming, moving everywhere. That his love motive is one of the most common complaints even among people who are technically his supporters. Yes, that's true, and that bothers me too because he won't shut up, and sometimes he should. But he's smart enough to manipulate people through that, to use that to his benefit. He probably will get reelected in 2020, and he got elected by being loud-mouthed. He's funny, he's a showman. But he's stupid, he isn't. He isn't! That's a lie. People think he's stupid because he plays cool for the public, because he acts weird, because he isn't as fake as other politicians. He doesn't pretend to be always intelligent, always smart, and well informed on things that he is not. He's not that fake. He's acting, he's playing a role. He's playing the role of a loud-mouthed bastard, a firebrand, a provocateur, but not the role of a career politician. And he's honest while playing his role, and his role is closer to his true nature than that of the other politicians. So he isn't stupid. He's in fact very intelligent, and you should be afraid of that. Not in a bad sense, but in the sense that he will always get his way. Even if he didn't get re-elected, he will always get his way because that's how he does things. Because that has been Donald Trump for decades. He always gets his way, even when he doesn't have what he wants. That he is childish and he makes tantrums, that's another fake claim. People think he's like a man-child or a baby. People here really think he is. He isn't. He's a great chess player in that regard. He's scary in that regard because he always makes these loud, showy scenes in public, but deep inside, he's always in control of the situation. He knows what he's doing. He never gets. He acts angry. He acts loud, but he doesn't get really angry. He doesn't lose it. Even when he's playing this role of the angry guy, all that, he doesn't lose it. He stays in his course. He's playing that role. He's focusing on acting that way. He intentionally acts that way. He never loses control in public. He doesn't start yelling. He doesn't start throwing things. Something they say about Hillary is that when she lost in front of her people, she started throwing things. That's a rumor. I am not 100% certain. But he never does that. If things don't go his way, he goes back to the table to start planning again, to start planning a strategy to get away with it. He isn't bad as you were told, as we are told, that he wants to start World War III. Really, people say that. No, he doesn't. That he wants to invade Mexico. He doesn't. He doesn't really want war because war is expenditure. He wants to manage America as a business and he wants to make money. All of his plan is to make America extremely prosperous, to make America great again, and once he's out of office, he can reap the benefits because it will benefit his private businesses which he has been running for decades. He wins no matter what. So no, he doesn't want to send America even further into war. There are some problems with how he manages that, but he is trying to avoid war as much as possible in comparison to previous presidents of the United States. For as long as I have been around, I don't know about the ones before the 90s. That he's a misogynist. No, he isn't. He isn't. I have never seen him saying actual things that are misogynist. He makes some vulgar statements about women, but he is not a misogynist. He's a pervert. I think he's a pervert. But so are most of you who are watching this. And let's be honest, most people are close of perverts. I am quite open about my sexual preference, about my views regarding sex, and I consider myself quite a vanilla guy. I am the vanilla guy in my circle of friends. I am the one who isn't that perverted, and still I could be considered a pervert for being outspoken about my views. So yes, he is a pervert. So are you. And Mexicans say a lot more vulgar things about women than he said. So no, he's not a misogynist. He's a pervert, and he's not nearly as vulgar as his detractors in Mexico. What else? What else? If you think about something else that I omitted, leave it in the comments. That he's corrupt and dishonest. Most politicians are. And based on the investigations that are on him, he's clean. I was a lot more surprised about that than about anything. I expected to see some proof of tax evasion or something like that, but no, he's clean, or at least he's as clean as a politician and businessman in America can get. He might be one of the cleanest, not the cleanest, but one of the cleanest. That he's a pedophile. This claim came from a joke he said to a little girl who he said, well, she wasn't that little. She was like 10. And he said he could marry her in a few years. Well, he's not a pedophile, but most men like women younger than they are. And he is married to a woman notably younger than he is. He could be Melania's grandpa. That's true. That's true. He is very old. He's like about 30, 40 years older than her. He is very old in comparison. And still, his marriage isn't as bad as that of other politicians and public figures. It is quite stable considering how old he is and how young she is. So no, he's not a pedophile. Another claim, because there are many outrageous claims here, that he interferes in foreign Mexican policies. That's not true. He didn't interfere in Mexico. In fact, our current elections prove it because I am not a supporter of Andrés Manuel López Obrador, but he is a legitimate president. He was elected by the people. I, I didn't vote for him, but he was elected by the people, and that's true. And he was elected before, but you know, corruption, political interference. Hillary Clinton did meddle in Mexican politics for years, and now that she's basically away, well, that's when Obrador wins, because Trump didn't interfere at all. Uh, in fact, negotiations between Obrador and Trump go quite well compared to what was Peña's administration. Enrique Peña Nieto, he often refused to even talk to Donald Trump, and he threatened with war. No joke. He threatened Donald Trump with war, and there were jokes about Mexico going to war with America because when Trump complained about the problems in the U.S. border, Peña refused to negotiate. He refused to make a deal, and Trump sent sent troops to guard the border. They were on America's side of the border, and Peña started saying that it was our duty to defend our country, that we should go to war. Really, he was trying to provoke Donald Trump. He said that if they cross the border, we will strike and all that bullshit, which didn't happen because Trump wasn't trying to start a war. But Peña probably was trying to at least provoke him, to sabotage him, because, well, there is proof that Peña was in alliance with the Democratic Party. But he got help from U.S. interference. So he got in charge due to U.S. interference, not because he was the legitimate president. Despite my criticisms of Obrador and my opposition to him, he is the legitimate president of Mexico, and he is the first president to get elected twice because there was electoral fraud. There's proof already. That's a well-known fact. And so no, he doesn't hate Mexico. That he hates Muslims. No, no, actually, I think he likes them in a business sense. I mean, he makes business with Saudi Arabia, but he is like all other boomers around him. One of those guys of the war on terror thing, but instead of going and fighting in the Middle East, he's like, let's secure our borders. Let's protect ourselves. Do not let them in. He doesn't hate Muslims. In fact, the so-called Muslim ban is not a Muslim ban. There were many other countries. There were many communist countries in the list. It was a list of places that have conflict with the United States. And Saudi Arabia wasn't there because he runs business there. So it was not a Muslim ban. He doesn't hate Muslims. Probably he likes them or they are inconsequential to him, like to most people. He's not a racist, he's not a bigot. He's a crass, arrogant man who makes a big show of himself and sometimes plays the fool to get attention from his audience because that's how it works. Because politics are show business too now. I like him as a person. I wish we had one. I don't like him in many ways because of several things, but he isn't as bad as the press makes him be. And the more I see about him, the more respect I get for him. I don't like him completely still. I still don't like him completely. I don't have like high hopes on him in that regard. I mean, I like him as I could like any public figure, to be honest. That is, I am neutral to him and a bit positive to him. But I won't feel betrayed if he turns to be someone else. If he acts in a way that betrays his followers, I won't feel betrayed. Partly because he's not my president. Partly because I don't have really expectations of him. I don't have negative expectations of him. I don't have positive expectations of him. The only expectation I have is that he will do the very same thing he keeps doing. So I am neutral, slightly in favor of him. And the more I know him, the more in favor I get. That could change. I hope not. I hope not, because I wouldn't like to see him negatively when I am just starting to like him. But that could change. Regarding another lie, and this is a lie about the United States in general. that the United States is going down, that you are economically falling, that you Americans are basically in decay, that you are a nation of impoverished people who play rich. That's not true. I don't know who the fuck said that in Mexico. I am starting to get angry because I don't like lies, and this one is a big one, big fucking lie. I don't know who said that. Who came up with this whole thing about America being in a state of economical collapse and decay, that you are that America is going down, that Donald Trump is proof of that. America is not going down. And if America is going down, well, everyone is then. Because I firmly believe there will be a sociocultural and economical collapse in the West in the near future, but it might not be one of those like big collapse. It won't be the Great Depression. It will be that many businesses will close, many jobs will be gone because of automation. Pretty much the kind of collapse that happened during the Industrial Revolution. That the cultural collapse will be that people won't want to watch all these Hollywood films anymore. That people will start to question more and more and more, and they will start thinking for themselves, and they will rebel, not in a violent way. That there will be, how to say it, the foundations will remain. The foundations were good, so they will remain, but the current paradigm will change. That's the collapse I predict. It's not a violent collapse, it's just that the parts that are weak will fall apart. And I don't think Trump is causing it because they say Trump is harming the US economy. The US economy is going down. The US is going down because Trump. No, that's not true. Trump is actually, I can see it, it's actually being beneficial to America. It's actually improving your economy. Maybe not in a way that benefits us, but we are not his country, so he doesn't have a responsibility to us. I don't know where they got the idea that America is doing worse than us. No joke, some people believe they do. There are some things in which you are doing worse than us, but that's like a few exceptions, a few rare cases, and it's pretty much tied to things done before Trump. Because it's, for example, they say and it seems, and based on what I have seen, that your public education system in America is just as bad, if not worse than ours. And ours is shit, and you also believe yours is shit, and I'm certain it is. And that is tied to Obama. And that is tied to the fact that both in Mexico and in America, we have these failed students who are sent, instead of being held back, they are sent to the next level. And they keep going and going until they hit college. And if they go for the real deal, they end up stuck in something terrible. If they try to really study in college, they end up failing and they realize they learned nothing. And if they don't, they took one of those, let's say, garbage courses, and they leave college, and once they get a job and they try to get a job, they realize they are useless and unemployable. I am somewhat unemployable, but I am not useless because I am a novelist, so I write novels, and that's what I do for a living. So I compensate my unemployability being independently productive. But there are people who are extremely useless and unemployable, and that's because they were never held back. They were never told, you know what, you're going to repeat grade. You need to do that sometimes. If you're a student that arrives at 6th grade without any skills, you need to do that. But because of the no child left behind policy, that doesn't happen anymore in America. Also in Mexico, it doesn't happen because of similar policies. So yeah, that's a problem. But that's not related to Trump. People tie Trump to all the bad things in America right now. But all those bad things were brewing since Bush, since Obama, since Bill Clinton, since everyone previous to him in the last few decades. And I don't really see anything bad that Trump did as a ruler that had a lasting impact. He did make mistakes during this first term, so do everyone. He did make a few mistakes, but he was quite smart at recovering from them because he did recover from them. He did fix them. And the only real problem I see is that there are many people who are growing up hostile because of him, because he won and they didn't like him, and he is not going after them, and he's not stopping them. He's being too soft on them. But I don't know why, and maybe he has a reason. And I prefer someone who goes soft on these people than someone who is an authoritarian monster and kills them. I believe they should be in jail, but I prefer someone who will let them cause trouble and wait for the cops to act instead of sending the army to kill them. So no, he's not as bad as you think. Well, if you think there's something else Mexicans believe about Trump that is not true, or if you want my opinion or something else regarding international issues that I am not going to cover yet or that I might forget to cover, let me know. Let me know in the comments. This was Random Dragon. If you like my videos, thumb them up. If you like this kind of videos, or if you understand Spanish and like the rest, subscribe. Have an excellent day.